This is going to be a long rant, so hang in there. This is a CNN article, and phrases like this bugs me to no end. Are real estate commissions really standard? We have to debunk some myths. Over the years, I've seen listing agents charge as much as 10% and buyer's agent receive as little as 0.5%. There is nothing standard about that range. Commissions aren't vanishing, but they're just going to be trickier to negotiate in a much more confusing and convoluted way. I have a lot of thoughts surrounding the $418 million NAR settlement, and I'm doing my best to organize my thoughts. The settlement is proposing to drop the language in MLS listing that states what will be paid to cooperating brokerages. Sellers won't be required to pay for the buyer's agents nor to state the compensation on the MLS system. In fact, sellers won't be allowed to say how much they're paying their own agents on those centralized listing systems. This means buyers will need to negotiate terms with their agents and include that in a buyer's representation agreement. Sellers often think that they're footing the bill for the sale of a home. Wrong. It is the buyers who's ultimately covering all the costs, which in turn pays for all the commissions, including the seller's portion. The current system is simply making it available to buyers to finance the commission. The way it has been done allowed for all parties to pay for the representation at closing and not directly out of their pockets. This news is still in flux, but if sellers choose not to pay buyer's agent, number one, the pool of potential buyers will be smaller to the seller, since sellers are now omitting the buyers who does not have cash and compensating a buyer's agent. Number two, many buyers may find themselves without the representation if they're trying to save a dime by going directly to the listing agent. I can only imagine the amount of subsequent lawsuits that will arise based on the dual representation. Number three, the stated goal for the lawsuits was to increase transparency, but the proposed settlement of removing stated buyer's agent compensation on the MLS sounds like the opposite of that goal. Just imagine having to navigate one of life's biggest purchases without expert guidance. There are a lot of moving parts. Working with a lender, gaining accountable access to all the homes, running comps to come up with a strategic offer price, negotiating to accept the deal, navigating title and escrow, helping decipher through inspection reports and disclosures, negotiating repairs within the contractual deadlines, appraisal gaps. If the buyer wants to cancel, handling everything, including escrow disputes. Here are my thoughts on the outcomes. Number one, this is hugely unfair to first-time home buyers. They have to pay for commission on top of saving through a down payment and closing costs. This will only erect a higher hurdle to home ownership and in turn create a wider gap between the rich and the poor. Number two, lending laws will need to change as a result. Right now, VA and FHA buyers are restricted by their loans. They're unable to be compensated by a buyer. So until the lender's laws catch up, I have no idea how veterans and lower income populations will be able to utilize special mortgage programs that lowers the hurdle to home ownership for them. Number three, real estate prices will not change. Rather, the savings on the commission will benefit the sellers. Perhaps rightfully so, but my point being is the market will not drop and it will always work out in an equilibrium. Number four, the race to the bottom for buyer's agents will lead to seasoned and hardworking agents in taking a bigger share of the market, while lesser agents fall off the map. As an industry veteran, I'm committed to protecting my clients every step of the way. Let's see what else comes out of this settlement and how it will impact our industry for the long term. But for now, do not fall for the headlines that suggest you can navigate the real estate jungle solo.